Hey,
Okay,
revival.
it's Judaism that's rebranded. And Dr. Raphael Kellman is the host. He also is with the Kellman Wellness Center in Manhattan, and he's involved in both holistic and natural as well as regular medicine. Microbiome is the book that he wrote.
We're
But
talking about Emunah medicine.
and Amunah and faith, and he combines medicine with religion, with Kabbalism, and he has a very special guest tonight, Rabbi Heshy
Yeah,
Reichman. So, Dr.
the Rosh
Kellman, take it away.
It's great. I get a chance to see a relative, It's great. Rabbi Reichman, we are related. So my father, through his mother's side, are cousins. You and my father, you and my father cousins from my father's
Your
mother.
mother and your father were cousins.
Wait, my father and who?
My mother.
Oh, of course. You're the second generation. Of course. What am I thinking? Yes, yes, yes. So when I went to Yeshiva University, my father said, talk to Rabbi Reichman. Don't forget to find Heshy Reichman. I go, okay. He was like, he was so proud that you were teaching that. So thank you for coming. Rabbi Reichman is, we really admire him. He came to the Kalbach Shul a number of times. We had some incredible Shabbatot together. It was a beautiful Shabbos is when you came. The type of learning, the Torah, the smile, the beauty, it just brought a beautiful feeling of Shabbos. I don't remember what you spoke about, but I do remember the feeling. And a little bit I know what we spoke about together. A little bit about how Avodah Zarah morphs in every generation. But anyway, so Rabbi Reichman is well-known Rosh Yeshiva, Yeshiva University, great student of Rabbi Soloveitchik, the Rav, and he wrote down in writing in many, many Sfarim the Shiurim of the Rav, of Rabbi Soloveitchik, which is, so beautiful in itself. It's a very elegant way of understanding Torah, the Rav, the whole Soloveitchik, brisk methodology. It's just beauty. It's just real beauty. And the little that I read in the Sfarim with Naphtali, it's just the logic and the elegance. It just flows. And not that you need my endorsement, but it was beautiful to read. And it's great Torah. It really brings out the beauty of the Torah. And also what I really love about Rabbi Reichman is you're in Hasidus too. And someone, the Shem Shmuel, is fascinating because he's a bridge between the yeshivish world that's mostly rooted in, Gemara, Rishonim, Achronim, Halacha, and didn't get a taste of another, we had the Vilna Gaon, but we didn't have the Baal Shem Tov. We had the Baal Shem Tov, but not as much of the Vilna Gaon approach, Derech. But I think the Shem Shmuel, a great thinker, Torah scholar, really bridges the two. Let's just start with this. I don't know how I thought of this first, but could you explain what got you so interested in the Shem Shmuel and what his philosophy is, what his Torah is about, and how that could possibly be a bridge to two different approaches? The Mitznage, mostly Yeshivish Gemara, mostly Gemara Halacha, and the Derech of Chassidut and the Zohar, the Arizal, Kabbalah, how do you bridge the two to create a more unified Torah, Judaism? And where does a Shem Shmuel come in, and why did you choose him to be, a new Rebbe of yours, another Rebbe of yours?
Well, before we begin, I wanted to show you, if you hold on for about 30 seconds, I just wanted to show you two books which I just published. Hold on for a second.
If we should do a whole Shabbos together with Rabbi Reichman and publicize it. Maybe we'll talk to Naphtali and have a great...
Yeah, let me show you. First of all, this is the latest of the Shurim of Rabbi Soloveitchik. It's on Masechet Sanhedrin and Horios. It's about 1,000 pages. Goes through the whole Masechet Sanhedrin from Beis to Kuf Yud Zayin, and Hurry the first 13 blot, which is almost the whole thing. It's amazing sefer, beautiful. And that's the 8th of the series. And this is the English Shem Shmuel, which is a 2-volume called Living Hasidic Legacy, which just has selections from his thoughts.
And what is this something you were involved with? This?
Yeah, I wrote this.
Wow, beautiful. Oh, I gotta get.
They are both available on the Yeshiva University site for books that the Rosh Yeshiva have written. It's called Reitz Press, RIETS Press.org. And anyone can order them and they'll ship it to you. I think if you read both books, you see a connection between these two worlds.
That's very interesting. Would you ever consider getting someone to translate the Sfarim that you wrote on from the Shiurim of Rabbi Soloveitchik?
Yeah, I would love to see that. The Rishimos from the Hebrew Aramaic Gemara language into English, and the Shem Shmuel from the English. Now, the way I wrote up the Shem Shmuel, it's very contemporary language. It's very the way I created and present the concepts are very, very with it relevant to today's world.
So tell us about that.
Let me explain that. Yeah, that's what is amazing is that Shem Shmuel lived in the early 20th century when he gave these lectures. He was a Rebbe of Sachachov in Poland. His father was world famous in the Torah world, was called the Avnei Nezer, was the son-in-law of the famous Kotzker Rebbe. And Shem Shmuel, whose name was Shmuel Bornstein, became the Rebbe after his father of Sachachov, was his father's right-hand man. So they learned literally his whole life together with his father, both halacha as well as Hasidus. Now, I think because he was his father's student and his father was famous for halacha, he was able to take the halachic approach of thinking and apply to Hasidus. Now, Hasidus is it's a combination basically of esoteric mystical ideas which come originally from Kabbalistic sources, the Zohar, the Ari Kadosh, and then of course the Baal Shem Tov and his followers. But the truth is that much of those ideas really talk to the emotional side of Judaism and the emotional side of every human being. But the Shem Shmuel is able to do, he's able, because of his halachic training, he's able to present it in a halachic method, which means putting things into categories. So let's say in halakha you have kosher and not kosher, person and thing. A lot of halacha is categorization, so that it makes it much more, it's like a whole logical system, which makes it very accessible. If you know how to think properly, you can understand how halacha operates. And Hasidus, until Shem Shmuel came along, was really a lot of separate ideas, a lot of emotional messages as well as mystical messages. And what he does is he organizes it in halachic fashion. So he takes, in almost every single one of his essays, he has 2 or 3 categories. So he takes the idea and he develops it within categories. So that makes it very appealing. If you learn how to think logically, you can think about it and you can understand. You get the esoteric, emotional message, but in an intellectual, logical construction. That's his genius, that he's able to do that so well, and throughout the Chumash and the Chagim, the different topics, he can do that. So for me, it was a perfect thing because I come from the greatest Torah halachic logician in the world. Rabbi Soloveitchik Zatzal comes from 150 years of the greatest thinkers in halacha, and Shem Shmuel, taking the Hasidus and presenting in this way, made it a very good thing for me to get into. So that's why I was able to.
No, it's really beautiful. The truth is that, from my opinion, is this, that if you don't merge the two, you really can't fully understand the halacha and the Gemara, and vice versa. To me, it's amazing. When I learn Gemara now, I don't do much, just a little bit of the daf. I do it because I want to hear the name Rabbi Akiva and Yochanan ben Zakkai, not so much because it goes too fast. But I like to go there, I have my coffee, I hang out with the rabbi and one or two people. But also to hear the names, just to hear Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai, Rabbi Akiva is worth coming just for that. But another reason why I'm very interested in seeing how Chacham, Chazal, they cover up things so beautifully. All of this, classically, they divided up the Torah, which I think is a problem, of the revealed Torah and the concealed Torah, right? The Pnimiyut and the Chitzoniyut, the surface. So in the Gemara, it's basically not delving into anything beyond. This is the reasoning. These are the laws, the Mishnah. What is the source of the laws? Back and forth questions, brilliant questions. So, but then, I said to the rabbi there, Rabbi Mellman, look, I went to, when my daughter was looking for different schools, high school, one of the schools, they gave you 15 minutes to hear the teacher, So I went into a Gemara class. Interesting. After the 15 minutes, it sounded like I went to a law jurisprudence class. It really, and I left with no Rishima, talking about it like a residue of something holy or something that I'm interested in, that grabs you, that attracts you, that that makes you feel what the Torah should make you feel. Now, so it didn't sound very different, but now when I'm learning, why do I go? What am I thinking? What is Rabbi Akiva thinking of? What's underlying his whole thought process? What's really going on? So I said, what's really going on is that he's not using his mind to understand any of this. He's trying to understand the Torah's mind, Hashem's quote unquote thinking. And they have to find it in a pasuk. They have to extract it from the words, from the letters of the Torah. Look at Rabbi Akiva. He was a genius with the letters, the crowns on the letters. What is this all about? Because everything comes from the Hebrew letters. But it takes years, perhaps, of delving in deeper and deeper into the infinite Torah. Torah is Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu, and Bnei Yisrael, they're one. So Rabbi Akiva comes around, and he's able to see so much because of the letters, because of the words, because of the psukim that he sees. Even S, the word S, Aleph Taf, he saw universes in that. So that's the surface, but underneath is a whole living, unseen world that only once in a while you're able to see it. So like for Rabbi Akiva, as an example, what is the Torah telling me? Like, what are the letters telling me? Not forget about what I'm thinking. Like, whenever they say teku, I said, you really think Rabbi Akiva couldn't figure this thing out? You think they have to wait for Eliyahu Hanavi to tell you the answer? I could give you the answer. You know what I mean? It's like, but no, Rabbi, they it's not about their minds. It's about another mind that's it's not just rational. There has to be the amuna component to the understanding, which is a different way of thinking. But then the Torah, the Gemara becomes alive. Gemara, one rabbi jokes to me, he says, whenever I want to fall asleep, I have no problem. I open a Gemara and 5 minutes later I'm sleeping, You know what I'm saying? So, but there's such beauty there. So, but it's the revealed. But when you start studying like the Shem Shmuel, now all of a sudden you see, oh wow, I didn't see that on the surface. And then now you're enamored, and it builds on itself. My question that I always get to at some point when I'm talking to a Rosh Yeshiva, people that have both mostly in Yeshiva, well, which I now know is changing in Yeshiva University, and people like you, how could you not study and know a little bit, at least a little bit, about what's underneath this camouflage? Because it's unbelievable. Look what the Gemara says, that Rabbi Akiva knew more than Moshe. Moshe said, how do you know this? Because there's so many layers. But how could you? Rabbi Akiva was the teacher of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was his student. The only reason why Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was the one who disseminated the Zohar, he had the words. It was too beyond words for Rabbi Akiva. One thing about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he was able to teach it. Most people couldn't teach it. It's too. There was no language for something that is above the seichel, above language. But Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai comes, he could do it. But it was concealed because they knew that generations weren't, quote unquote, ready for it. For whatever reason, that's the whole discussion. But then many years later, somehow it got revealed a little bit. It certainly influenced a few hundred years in the middle, from already 1200 on. But the Ramban was not privy to seeing the Zohar, yet he was a Makubal. You could see it in his way of thinking, in his way of teaching Torah, the language. You could see it. He would say, "V'amevin yavin." Those who understand. I can't give you any more. I don't know half the words, But he never even had the Zohar so clearly. There was a dimension of Torah that was around from the moment we were given the Torah. The Nevi'im, David HaMelech, every word, every sentence, we think it's just read the English and you got it. Oh my God, what's behind whatever? David HaMelech, in his language, he's revealing the Zohar. He's revealing a code that, I luckily, fortunately, because of Schus Avos, not because of me. And the Avos, the fathers we're talking about. I was granted to get a peek at the Zohar and the Arizal for many years, Baruch Hashem. And I could tell you, it's a whole new Torah. And it's not mystical, it's the opposite. What the Zohar is really about? The Chochmah of Emunah. It just develops a power in you, a passion and a love. It makes you into a Jew. It makes you into a power Jew, not Chachma, not your knowledge. Moshe, there's not a single biblical character that is known for their intelligence, for their memory. Eved Hashem is a servant of Hashem. What's coming up in the Megillas Esther? Mordechai HaYehudi, he was a Jew. The Ish Mordechai, he was a man. He was. You feel his power. Esther, there's equal. There's equality here when you go deeper into the Torah. Esther, a powerful person. The elements of Judaism, Leich, to know, says Kolaya, to gather the people. Were one. There's everywhere. It is Hamelech. When it says Hamelech Achashverosh, it's not talking about this man. It's talking about Hamelech, the real king. This is, now you open up and you see this. The same thing with the Zohar. The main book that's quoted in the Zohar is Shir HaShirim. Shir HaShirim, all over the place. What did Rabbi Akiva say? Everything is holy, except what? Shir HaShirim is Kodesh, is the holiest of the holy. Why? Because, and why is the Zohar quoting it all the time? Because it's talking about emunah that's, I don't want to use the word love because it's overused. It's an attachment. It's a clinging to it. I don't want to use, it's a clinging to the source that you just don't want to let go because you feel the love. You feel there's Jewish history. This is the beauty of the Ramban, that Masa Avo Simul Abanim. So you get a feeling of the whole story of Judaism. And now look at the beauty, look at the miracles, look at all the goodness Hashem gave it to us because we're one, we're part of it. And the Zohar is about telling us about this love, and it's revealed, which by the way is Chachma. What does that mean, Chachma? Because Chachma means, and this is from the Arizal, what is Chachma? But it's also in Pirkei Avos. Who is wise? Haroa et hanola, who could see what's going to come, right? That's the whole idea of Hashgacha Pratis. At the time of the redemption, the Geula, we're going to see this Chachma. We're going to see that everything Hashem did was for us. The beauty doesn't look like it now, but we're going to see it. So but when you see that, now there's love. This is no matter what, I see darkness now, but there's my beloved. That's the Zohar. Could you imagine this? And then people think it's about mystical. There's a lot of mysticism in the Gemara. Shadim. Nah, it needs to be the Bala Sulam, the one who wrote the commentary on the Zohar. When I was learning, I went to yeshiva, very strict. So many of those kids are not religious, gone. But I knew, I knew there was something there. I just didn't know what. I was always turning my back. I remember one day I was in Italy, keeping Shabbos, but nothing, but it didn't feel. I was in Italy. I was in the Amalfi Coast. And I remember it was time of around Mincha on Shabbos, around the time of Shalosh Shudas, and I talked to my friend, look, there's something different at this time of the day. And after that, I said, that's it. I'm going to be part, I want to be in the middle. Come back, New York. What's available? It took a little bit of time till I found the Kabbalah shul. I was studying, let me study Chabad. So I was studying the Baal Tanya. Keeps on talking about the Zohar. That's it. That's the book they told me not to learn. That's what I want to learn. So I opened the Zohar and I said, who wrote this commentary? The Baal Sulam. When did he live? Wow, this our generation. So I looked for his student. He wasn't alive anymore, but I found his son, who was a channel to the Baal Sulam himself. Baal Sulam, the language, the beauty, just like the Rav, the beauty, Safa, Varua, Vanima, the way this, when I look at the book that you wrote, it's Safa, Varua, Uvanima. It's a clear, beautiful language of the Mashiach. It's the same thing here with you were talking about categories. All of the Torah, according in the Zohar, the Arizal, the same thing. It's a structure. It's a system. It's a castle. You go into this room, you'll see a reflection of the other room. Everywhere there are signposts. Chesed, chesed, chesed. Okay, now you have to stop. All the attributes and how do you use them? But number one is humility. Is you chachma, yes, but more important is the emunah. But it's a chachma. How do you develop emunah? You need the two. Anyway, without getting too deep into this, This is the beauty of the Torah. So when I started learning this from the Baal Shalom, I said, this is the Judaism that has to be disseminated. And it's Hasidus, yes, but even beyond it, because it describes the worlds, and I know it's in Shem Shmuel too, that we should be living in, rather than on Broadway between 87th and 88th Street. I don't like that neighborhood. I want to live in another, honestly, that's my only salvation. If I'm not in Israel, I have either the Kalbach Shul, talking to people like you, in my house, my wife, and Zev, a few other people, and then you have Olam HaTzilut, that we could live in for a moment. That's the Torah. And I think if it's redefined, and Shem Shmuel is a beautiful bridge. So let's get back to the Shem Shmuel. Tell me a little bit more about the types of concepts that he talks about.
Well, I think as we're getting close to Purim in a couple of days, and Purim is the classical Jewish description of the fight against Amalek, and which is worst possible enemy, an enemy that wants to destroy us completely. It's not a fight about strategic interests, which is a normal kind of wars that people, different nations could fight about land, about wealth, strategic interests. This is a war about identity. Amalek wants to destroy our identity. And when we fight the war, we're asserting our identity. And Shem Shmuel has a very fascinating take on it, because a major question is, why does the Amalek enemy surface? We don't really have too many other nations which have enemies that just want to destroy you. Russia and America were having a Cold War for a long time. It was about who would control Europe, who would get control of the big assets in the world, Africa, Asia, etc. But it wasn't as if one nation says, I want to destroy literally the existence of that other nation. But here we have this Amalek phenomenon that didn't just happen in the time of Mordechai and Esther. The original war of Amalek was in the desert, when the Jews left Mitzrayim, just right before they were going to come to Har Sinai and get the Torah. All of a sudden, there's this war with Amalek. And it says clearly that they fought only because they wanted to destroy the Jews, because it says in the Torah that they made the war against Hanech Shalem Acharecha. They weren't even able to get through the clouds. There were clouds protecting the basic Jewish nation of 600,000 plus men. And they couldn't get even through the clouds to fight us. So it wasn't a strategic war. They just wanted to kill any Jew that they could find. And there were some Jews outside the clouds. And Shem Shmuel has this very interesting point about that. Who were these Jews outside the clouds? Who were they? Hanech Shalom Acharecha. In the Medrash Zohar, these were Jews worshiping Avodah Zarah. Even after the 10 plagues, after Kriyat Yamsuf, they were still with idols, which they took out of Egypt, and they were worshiping their idols after everything. So therefore, they could not get into those holy clouds. The holy clouds didn't let them in, but they were still persistent to worship their idols. These are the people who, not so long thereafter, created the golden calf. So they were out of the clouds. And why did Amalekim attack? Just to kill these few straggling Jews who didn't present a threat to anybody. I don't know, let's say there were 600,000 Jews inside the clouds who were real soldiers. These people outside with their idols, maybe 1,000, a couple of thousand people. And Amalek goes and makes a war just to kill them. So we see that Amalek is a mortal enemy who just wants to kill us. Why? Where does this come from? So Shem Shmuel points out, and then I happened to see recently another Hasidic sefer, which I love, called Nesiva Shalom.
Ah, beautiful.
Rabbi's tremendous sefer. It's a wonderful
He
follow
quotes his Zohar. He quotes his Zohar all the time.
all the time. Yeah, he's a wonderful follow-up to Shem. He was a Rosh Hashiva, and he knows how to present it in a very logical, organized way.
And also, he wrote a book on chinuch. He wrote a book about teaching. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he is amazing. So
Yeah.
he and the Shem Shmuel on the same exact page when it comes to Amalek, that there was going to be a tremendous redemption. The Jews were about to get the Torah at Har Sinai, and then build the Mishkan, which is God's presence in this world. Whenever you get to that level of redemption, the tremendous powers of evil which are there attack.
Yes. Yes.
They want to stop this.
Yes.
They have this feel. It comes from it comes from the Satan himself.
Yes.
Satan himself knows that his game is going to be over, basically, if Jews get a Mishkan or Jews get a Beis Hamikdash.
Right. Right.
But when that's about to happen, that's when you have the attack. So before Har Sinai, Amalek. Before David and Shlomo build Beis Hamikdash, Amalek and David.
Absolutely.
Before Ezra and Mordechai build Bayit Sheni, Haman Amalek is there.
And if I could add to this, there was the red heifer, right? They in Texas. There was, and they brought it to Israel. You know who knew about this? Hamas. They knew about this, and they know, they have like a sixth sense that something is happening. That Mashiach, if we have this could be the start of the Beis Hamikdash. This is a dangerous sign. The Mashiach is the Beis Hamikdash could be, we're moving along history, and they know sometimes more than we feel. Certainly more than these self-hating Jews from the Hollywood. They know, Hamas knows Judaism and senses something more than they do. And isn't it? Well, maybe it's also robotic. Look at the time that they decided to do this. Right after the red heifers are in Israel, 7 of them. And someone even told me that they've actually said something like this.
Yes.
But, but also they don't even realize it. But why? Well, by the way, this is the silver lining. This is a sign, like you were saying. Torah is coming. The Torah is being given soon again. But what's amazing also is why it happened the last day of Sukkot. So now, what I'm going to say now, and I'm sorry to interrupt you because I want to get back to you, but real quick, that we say, Rosh Hashanah, the Rishayim, forget about it. And then the Beinanim a little bit later. But it extends the righteous right away. But the Beinanim, it ends when Hoshana Rabbah. And the next day, you see the consequences. On the happiest day is when there was this Churban. Now, this is not anything about the people. The Jews are one soul. Someone else is hurt, but it's not because of them. What happened is, and I saw this in the Zohar, that Zohar was saying that that's potentially a day of din. The same light, the same or that is great for the tzaddikim will kill the Rishonim. Not that Jews are not Rishon, chas v'shalom, but certainly it was a gemar din. It was a din saying, no division in Israel. There's no space for God. It's not a coincidence, and it's not pointing fingers. It's pointing to ourselves that there's no coincidences. This is incredible. Talking about hidden miracles, which is what Purim is all about. Here's a hidden miracle, but it's the biggest miracle. God didn't come down and say, okay, the Jews, we're the victors, but this is hidden miracle. This is what Purim's about. Incredible to learn, to learn a lesson that lack of unity, lack of love. This is the Yom HaDin was exactly that day. Even though when we had a last chance. We were talking about the Satan, right? This is not, there's a Satan in us, a Yetzer, of selfishness, right? And by the way, Chachma could be selfish too. I want this, I want technology, I want AI, I want Azores, I want to get something. There's a force. This stone represents this force. I still believe in God. I still believe in Hashem, but I want something now. I want to chop something now. I want to make more money right now. And then Hashem will talk to Hashem. They believed in Hashem. We're like we spoke about this. We're worshiping idols too, and but if there's too much selfishness, hatred, or lack of unity, the light is mistalek. And the Zohar says, most to Musun. The light is mistalek. The Or Hashem is gone. There's no life left. What happened physically is just a physical manifestation. But in the Torah, when it says most to Musun, all over the place, right? You're going to die. It's not talking, it turns a lot of people off, right? I said it's not talking about this world. It's talking about a spiritual world. It's that you're going to lose life, your spiritual life, because you're disconnecting yourself from the people of Israel. Kores, you're disconnecting yourself from the people. You're disconnecting yourself from the midot of Hashem, and now you're alone. You're left floundering in the cosmos. That's most to Musun. It's on a spiritual level. Unfortunately, we experienced it on a physical level, but we have to realize we are still experiencing it on a spiritual level. I asked a friend of mine that I learned with in Israel. I said, in a way, I'm jealous. These soldiers, they're fighting. They're willing to give up their lives. What are we doing here? What am I doing here? And the gullers just eating. Not even. I mean, we think about the hostage, of course, but what's our job? These are heroes. And he said, no. He said to me, you're fighting a war too. Like you were saying, Amalek, it's an internal selfishness. It's an internal, me. It's an internal gaiva. It's an internal machlokas. It's, I know, like you were Reichman, I say what I love, like the smile, smile. It unites, and that's what the Torah is about. To get back, like, what are we arguing about? The light, the right, the left is all crazy. And what happens? Most to Musun. But on the spiritual level, we're all soldiers. We have to. This is what my friend told me, and everything I say, by the way, it's not me, it's not mine. It's all I learned from my Rabbi, and he was a channel. I hope I'm expressing a little bit of the Bala Sulam. The Torah is about unity. It's about unity with Hashem, unity with the Torah, unity amongst ourselves. Like, Giuseppe, you said I should speak about medicine. I'm going to say something about medicine. There's only one disease. That disease is disunity. Disunity. Because what happened at Har Sinai? With no death, right? Death was, no one died. It's not a metaphor. Why? Because there was arivut. Everyone was concerned about everyone else. Could you imagine if you don't have to worry at all about anything for a second? Your body is healed. I believe it's physiologically, by the way. I'm not talking metaphorically or spiritually. I really believe that we have a perfect software. Talking about artificial intelligence, and what do you think? Like, where does the real intelligence is the natural intelligence? We're designed. What happens? Why does it fall apart? Because there's a glitch. There's a lack of an internal belief that this is whole, and boom, the whole thing falls apart. And that's it. That's the disease. There's no doubt in my mind. This is it. Zeb, how's that? Is that? I don't know. I can't make any money on that, but that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the healing from the Torah. It's Amunah. And people go, well, the Eastern traditions have all kinds of. And what about the Torah? Well, here it is. This is the healing idea from the Torah. So ultimately, it's the keeping of the Torah, ultimately, first and foremost, like we were saying, and from the unity comes the desire for the Torah, the desire for the mitzvah. It's ipso facto. You feel the love of Hashem. Someone was in my office the other day and said, I don't really believe in God. I don't believe in God. I said, I don't know, there's no word God in the Torah. There's no God. There's different names and letters that describe different states of the experience. I don't see the word God. Well, there's no atheists in the Torah. Either there's Avodah Zarah people, there's evil people, or there's Torah people, right? Where's the atheist? There's no such thing. I said to this guy, I said, do you have children? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's two daughters. One daughter, one son. You love them, right? I said, think about it. What are you feeling when you feel love for them? Is it eternal? Is there a boundary? No, it's ever. I said, there it is. That's the experience of Hashem. You tasted Hashem, period. Don't call it God. So this is the beauty of the Torah. It's that this is the idea of Emunah. It's an experience, right? The Torah, getting back to what we were saying before, you're not learning jurisprudence when you're learning Torah. You're learning Hashem. You're learning Emunah, and this is a different Torah. This is why I was very intrigued. I don't want. We have more time left, but I want to give them. I just had to say this because the miracles are now. Let's not wait for these grand miracles that the lights, the heavens are going to open up. We're seeing them. We saw a miracle, and also the dark side of it. But we also saw the negative effects of the Satan, like you said, that's in us, and it's also outside of us. And so, what do you think the message of Purim is in terms of changing ourselves and the relationship between Purim and Yom Kippur, and a little bit more about the Shem Shmuel, because
the message is exactly what you said, Rafi. That is Jewish unity. What Esther told Mordechai, go to all the Jews. Lech kenos et kol haYehudim. B'tzumo olai. If all Jews are united and pray together and hope and believe together, then we will prevail. Hashem will give us the blessing. That's exactly what she said. It's exactly what Mordechai attempted to do, and the Jews absolutely responded. Any Jew who wanted to get out of that gezerah of Haman had a very simple thing to do: just bow down to Haman's idol. Haman had this idol. You bow down to that idol, that's it. You're free. Nothing's going to happen to you. Not a single Jew bowed down to Haman's idol. He said, we're sticking with everybody else. We're together with Mordechai. We're together with Haman's enemies. We're going to defeat this. We're going to keep our belief in Hashem, and that's why we will prevail. And that's exactly what happened. So that's the main message of Purim. That's why we have the special mitzvos of Mishloach Manot, making sure you share with every other Jew around. Your blessings should be his blessings or her blessings. Give Tanot La'Evyonim, reach every single person, no matter what level they're at. Everybody should come together, be united, and this way we get a Beis HaMikdash, because very soon thereafter, within about 3 or 4 years later, Mordechai went to Israel with Ezra, and they built the second Beit HaMikdash.
Wow.
Stay together. Don't give in to the enemy at all. Just keep that strong, united faith, and you will not only outlive and destroy that enemy, you will also get a Beis Hamikdash. That's the message of Purim. So
Beautiful.
hopefully, and I just hope, I'm absolutely sure that the Jewish nation today is doing this and
Yes.
will absolutely destroy the enemy. And I hope, but I'm leaning to believing in that we will see a Beis Hamikdash, because the enemy is saying we're fighting a Beis Hamikdash, like you said, the red heifer and carbon Pesach, any sign that there's a Beis Hamikdash, that's what the enemy is fighting. That's the message to us. We're building a Beis Hamikdash today. We're actually building it. We will see it.
Yes,
So.
and absolutely. And I should give you, if I could give you a bracha, that you should live many years healthy and to see panim el panim, the Mashiach.
Amen. Rabbi, I've been telling my Talmidim in the yeshiva, I don't know how many years, that I want to set up a date, B'li Neder, Tisha B'Av, Shnas Tov Tov. Tov is the year 5,800. Now we're at 5,784. Another 16 years will be 5,800. Tov stands for Talmud Torah Tiferet. Tiferet is the ultimate coming together of everything we dreamed for. I want to bring a carbon Toda. Believe that there, Raphael. I want you to be there with me.
Beautiful.
With all our friends and our family. 10 o'clock in the morning after a nice shachris, we go to the mikveh and then to the eastern gate. 10 o'clock. B'li Neder, Tisha B'Av, Shnas Tov. And
I'm going with you. Wherever you go, I'm going. I'm going with you.
We're on the same page. B'li Neder, we'll be there together.
And it's amazing what you're saying, Tiferet, which is the middle, right? It's Kav MC, it's the middle column. You know, you have Chesed, and then you have Gevura, right? The different midot that you need to merge them. But what's in the middle is Tiferet. You know, and so and Tiferet is the middle path that unites. And another thing is Tiferet is Hashem, is also the Yud Kei Vav Kei is, I mean, it extends infinitely, but it's the idea of the middle when there's no difference between Mordechai and Haman. The middle path to Tiferet is Gemara Tikkun. It's the final redemption. It's the time when we see Hashkacha Pratis completely. You know, we see, you know, from Mikatzel, we see the whole story. And that's why, by the way, one of the reasons why the Zohar says that the Mashiach will come with the revelation of this book, the Zohar. And that doesn't mean that everyone has to open the Zohar and read it. It's the ideas. It's the ideas, the concepts, and the experiences, and to know the ascent to holiness, the ascent to Hashem, to reach that state of Devekut. And each level is another climb in that. But ultimately, you know, it's the refinement, it's the Mashiach inside of us, right? First, we have to get the Mashiach in us, and then we'll build the physical temple. What would you say we should do? Give us an instruction. I'm going to write it down to build the inner Beis Hamikdash inside ourselves. What should we do?
Always think the best of every Jew in the world. Always think that every Jew is a tzaddik, is a beautiful neshama. We do that, we'll be united. Knosset Kol HaYehudim, and this will be our Beis Hamikdash. The Beis Hamikdash is every single Jew has to be in that Beis Hamikdash. I just happened to see today the Gemara, and I think it's Brachos as well as Megillah. It says, if someone says, Yevarechecha Tovim, the good Jews give you a blessing. Menadim oto, we push this man aside. Not just Tovim, every single Jew, even those who look like Lo Tovim, are Tovim. Yevarechecha Kol HaYehudim, every single Jew gives that blessing to Hashem and gets the blessing. And that's what we have to develop in ourselves, like you, Rafi, like Zev, like our great Rebbe Shlomo Carlebach, and going back all the way to Zohar, etc. Every Jew is a tzaddik. Every Jew stands with Mordechai and Esther and brings goodness into the world, and every Jew will get that Beis HaMikdash. It's for everybody, and that's how we'll bring it. In the year of the Keres, in the year of ultimate resolution of everything.
It's that it's that middle path where it really relates to Purim. What is when there's no difference between Mordechai and Haman? What does that mean? Is that you see Hashgacha Pratis, everything is perfect. Hashem is Tovim, Hashem is good and does goodness. The whole purpose of the creation was to give to us, to bring us to Him. And then at that point, there's no Mordechai, there's no good, bad. It's all good. That's the idea of Purim, right? You can't tell the difference between. There's no such thing as good and bad. It's all Tova Meitiv. That's Hashgacha Pratis. And the Zohar and the Arizal, the whole thing with the Arizal is he describes the whole story, how it goes from Orein Sof and the different, Olamot and the parts of him, all the different. It's a beautiful dance, to how we come from pure good to look to where we come down here. But it's an internal process that's in us that could guide us to develop, spiritually, in a sense that there's always there's always a pull. Like you were saying something very interesting. The greater the spiritual element is being revealed, the more Satan comes around, and the higher up in the world you go, the more enticing is you want everything. You want Hashem, right? It's you again. Why? Because this is not just like eating a steak. This type of enjoyment up there but that's a difficult task because now there's a separation between you and Hashem. But when you climb all these worlds, you see how the worlds do it. You see the way Adam HaRishon, he didn't do it right, but the template did it right, the way it was happening. Such a beautiful dance between the receiver from Hashem, everything. Hashem wanted to give us endlessness. He wanted to give us Himself, and that's the goal, right? That's the goal of the creation, of the Torah, of the Beikut, right? But it's a problem because there's now all of a sudden, if you just have like the Chachma, right? If it's just rational Chachma, you could be very happy with that. What do I need Emunah? What do I need to? I know everything already. Why I know Hashem's path. Even to that degree, look at what happened with Bnei Yisrael. They knew everything. They saw Hashgacha Pratis, right? The handmaid knew more than Yecheskel Hanavi. They saw from end to the end. They saw exactly how God is going to bring us to Mashiach. That's Chachma, right? Once you know that, but no, immediately it's gone. But with Emunah, you don't even think about. It's not about intelligence. It's not about human seichel. It's about another. The beauty of the Torah is how many words there are for knowledge, understanding. There's chachma, there's bina, there's das. Well, what's going on? Because they're all different elements of an existential state of a human being. But some are more. But chachma by itself is a problem. Could be avodah zarah. So it has to be the right, the left, tiferet, and then there's true emunah, because the chachma you don't even want. It's too small. You know what I mean? It's in a biological, neurological terms, it's called habituation. Once you see a miracle, once you see it, you lose it. Rabbi Wurzburger once told me, he said, it takes a miracle to see a miracle. You feel it then, and you rationalize it. The sea split. I don't know. It's split. Hashem. I believe in God. But he's up there. He's not, is he really going to do the next miracle for me? I don't know, you know. But Emunah that's why Chachma is not the answer. It's Emunah, by the way, is a way of being. It's a way of knowing. The Zohar talks about Hasaga. I'm sure the Shem Shmuel, the word of Hasaga is very different. It's as you were saying before, what were you saying? That Hashem is, you didn't say Tova, no, you said something that he's all elements, right? He's the book, he's the reader of the book, right? It's all the different elements, because it's not a knowledge that's outside of us. What is it? Tiheim Chayenu, right? The Torah is inside of us, meaning this is Hasaga. Hasaga meaning the encounter is an intelligence. What's higher than Hasaga, right? You feel, I always say, like, what Brandwein taught me, like, Tamu Ura'u, taste Hashem. How does, art school it's contemplate. No, it's not contemplate. It means it. You have to taste Hashem. This is the Chassid Shem Shmuel. He said this, I saw it. No, it's Tamu. No. That's it. The sense is up there. This is the beauty of the Hasidic Shem Shmuel, the Zohar. Well, by the way, one of the reasons why we're doing this show, and it's getting, it's not so simple to do this. It's supposed to be a medical. Believe me, it's a little difficult. Is to disseminate what the Torah could. How many people are so hungry for this? What you were saying, let everyone hear that Judaism is about unity. It's about the connection together. We have to tell more people.
Amen. And keep it up, you and Zev and the people, Naphtali and everybody.
And we invite you. We'll invite you for Shabbos. You'll let us know when you can come for a Shabbos.
We'll talk to Naphtali. We'll make a.
I'm gonna book you quick. Okay.
Okay.
All right, and then bring your Sfarim. I really.
Okay,
How do I buy that?
It's called Reed's Press.
The Judaica store on the west side has it.
Yeah, they have it.
Everyone buy it. Trust me. Buy the book.
They have it, I'm sure.
Buy the book. And also maybe one you can give us a class of the Rav. It's just so beautiful. But everyone buy this book. This is a great bridge.
Yeah, exactly. This one.
This is Tiferet. This is
And you were listening to Judaism Revitalized with Dr. Raphael Kellman in conversation with Rabbi Heshy Reichman. You can always
Happy Purim Sameach.
Happy Purim. Oh, are you coming to speak on Purim?
MD help me. 833 MD help to reach Dr. Kellman.
If you're available, we're gonna call you.
Okay, give us a call.
I will. All right. Zeb, thank you.
Everybody.
If you or a loved one has undergone cancer treatment and is now in remission, what comes next? Dr. Raphael Kellman, internist and holistic functional doctor and best-selling author, has put his